everyone, my name is Felix and I accidentally deleted the first take and now I have to do it all over again. Lovely.
The beat starts here.
As a music lover, it should be no surprise that I also love to attend concerts. When it comes to interesting concert stories, the bigger venues are a bit more polished, so nothing really eventful happens. The smaller venues, on the other hand, oh boy. So back in the summer of 2015, me and my good buddy Jake Tigerclaw went to an Andrew WK show. We ended up missing the first act, but we got there just in time for Andrew WK to perform. And we also went to the show in fursuit. Why? Because at the time, Andrew WK was posting a lot of stuff about the furry fandom. And me and JT thought, what if we go to his show in suits? And so we did. So we're in the crowd waiting for Andrew to get on. And it's not the whole band, it's just Andrew and one other guy. We were definitely getting some attention from some of the patrons. It's only when the concert began is when things got interesting. So towards the end of the second song, me and JT were crowd surfed to the stage and we just started dancing. When the song was over, Andrew WK came over and hugged both of us. And here's the interesting part. He let us stay on stage for the entirety of the show. He just let us sit there in the background while he and his friend were performing, and me and JT managed a little picture taking and filming while we were up there. We ended up bailing just before the final song, so we didn't get to meet Andrew WK after the show, but we did get to meet his bandmate, who was super chill. I have no idea if I'm going to ever fursuit at a show again, but it was a fun time. Now this next story is one I will never forget. So it's me and 3 other friends. Andrew, Stevie, and my good buddy, Akoka Okami. Now at the time, Akoka had never been to a concert before, and so I asked him if he wanted to come to a show with me and 2 other friends, and he was like, sure, so he joined us. Now back in 2016, the only mode of transportation I had was my first car, that being a 2001 Toyota Camry. Getting to the venue was no problem at all. Now I live just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, and I had to drive all the way to Raleigh, North Carolina, which isn't really a problem for me since I make trips to Raleigh all the time, so not a big deal. Like I said, getting to the venue was no problem. The bands we were seeing were Tooth Grinder, Chon, Sixth, and Periphery. The first band to perform was Tooth Grinder. Absolutely solid show. If you're into metalcore, I definitely recommend them. In fact, I got to meet the vocalist for the band during one of the intermissions, and he was a pretty chill dude. Second up was Chon. Now, this is what Chon sounds like. So you can imagine how odd it would be if you saw people moshing to Chon. Yes, really. We are that fucking dedicated. In fact, I even got to crowd surf a little bit. Third up was Sixth. Solid performance. It was actually Akoka's favorite performance, and he got to meet some of the members after the show. And last but not least, there was Periphery. This is my first time ever hearing about Periphery, so when I saw them live, it just blew my mind. Absolutely amazing. So the show ends, and the 4 of us are exhausted. We head to the car, and it starts to rain. I'd say 5 minutes on Interstate 40, my car starts slowing down. So I have to pull over to the side of the road because my car shut down. And at this point, I am flipping out, and my friends were trying to calm me down, and I tried calling my mom, and she couldn't really do anything. When me and my friends inspected the car once it stopped raining, we noticed that the coolant was empty. So we thought, okay, we could just fill that up and head our merry way. We ended up getting some police to help us out. One of the officers took me to a nearby Sheetz to get some water. Come back, put some water in the coolant. The car still wouldn't start. So it's late, and I didn't want AAA to take me all the way back to Charlotte, so the police volunteered to take us to a nearby hotel for the night. That's what we did. Next morning, I called my dad to explain the situation, and he said that there was a Toyota dealership in the area. So I got AAA, and they towed the car to the dealership. It was me and my friend Andrew. We were hanging out there for maybe an hour, hour and a half. And you want to know why the car stopped? I'll give you a few seconds to guess. Got your answers? Of all the things to go wrong with my car, it was a blown fucking fuse! Now, if you're not exactly a car buff, fuses are like this fucking tiny. Something that small caused me and my friends to stay overnight in Raleigh. Just lovely. We ended up having to fill the car up with coolant again, and we made it back to Charlotte. And then a few months later, the car finally died on me, so I had to get a new one. Back then, I was furious, but looking back now, it was definitely an interesting time. The last story I want to talk about is a more recent one. So back in July of this year, me, Andrew, and Stevie went to go see All Them Witches, Deaf Heaven, and Gojira. Now earlier in that week, I was experiencing some really bad stomach pains. I have no idea what it was, but it was making life a bit hard for me at work. And on the day of the show, the pain was still very persistent. So I wasn't quite sure if I was going to make it. But I was like, screw it, you know what, I'll deal with it, and so I just head to the show. It was raining. Again. By the time I get to the show, it was pouring down rain. I met up with Andrew and Stevie in line, and it was essentially a torrential downpour. We were soaked. We've been waiting out there for maybe like 30 fucking minutes before they finally let us in. And naturally, a lot of the guys, including myself, went to the restroom to wring out our shirts. Now, I don't really talk about my personal life all that much, but as a bisexual, if you walk into a men's restroom with a bunch of guys with their t-shirts off, yeah. It's like an impromptu wet t-shirt contest, I swear. First band up, All Them Witches. Now, if you're into like doom metal or stoner doom metal, I would definitely recommend this band and pick up their self-titled album. Second band up, Deaf Heaven. Now, if you're into like post-black metal with some black gaze influence or something like that, I would definitely give them a listen. They're pretty good. And at this point of the show, my stomach pains had not let up, so I was a bit uncomfortable for a good chunk. And then Gojira came on. And I get through the first few songs alright. And then my favorite song starts to play. Which song, you might ask? Flying Whales. In the beginning of the song, you hear whale noises. Once I heard those whale noises, my stomach pain disappeared, and I was like, I am getting in that fucking mosh pit. And the really heavy part comes in, and I go hard in the pit. Harder than I have moshed in a long fucking time. And by the end of the night, I was exhausted, and my stomach pains were completely gone. And while I wasn't able to meet the band afterwards, I was able to get this awesome whale drawing from Gojira's drummer. So that's pretty cool. And that's about all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for enduring my rambling. My name is Felix Wolf, and I will see you next time.